So, as you all know, earlier this year I put out my top 10 albums of 2016 list video. On that list was SIM's Life is Beautiful, and I compared that band themselves to being like a Japanese version of the British Jamaican band Skindred. If that's true, and I strongly believe that it is, what does that say for the band about this episode? I first came across Maximum The Hormone in the same fashion as most people, I would imagine. Their songs What's Up People and Tetsubo Billy being the intro and outro songs, respectively, of the later half of the anime Death Note, which is one of my favourite anime series of all time, and one of the only ones I've watched all the way through, because it hasn't dragged on for over 600 episodes anyway. The band themselves has been around since 1998, and they're still going really strong today, despite only having put out 4 studio albums over their almost 2 decades long career. Speaking of which, those albums were not easy to find and to listen to. I had to do some serious digging to find them, and I hope that you all appreciate the sacrifice I had to make. I'm kidding, obviously. This is episode 2 of season 2, and this time it's Maximum The Hormone. So let's take this like potato chip and eat it. So, we start with their 1999 debut at ASA Crew, released via Sky Records, the only album of theirs to be released on that. There's a lot of firsts for the band's debut. The fact that it's their shortest album at just over 29 minutes long. The fact that it's the only studio album to feature the title of the album and the songs in English, although they do still sing in Japanese. And the first and only album to feature original guitarist Sugi and original bassist Key. It's also the band's least weird output, focusing mostly on just straight up hardcore punk. It does have flavourings of their future styles, but they're much more lessened on this album. Everything goes over really well. Daisuke Hunt's vocals are pretty fantastic, as is Nao's drumming, and Sugi and Key play their respective instruments very well also. But there are moments where the vocals fall flat, mostly from Nao. Sure, she can sing just fine nowadays, in fact better than fine, but on that debut you wouldn't know that she's a girl, to be honest. She sounds good enough, but there are moments where she just comes across as really pitchy from time to time. Playing guitar or bass while singing is challenging enough, but playing drums while doing it? That's a lot more difficult, and this was their debut, so I'm willing to give Nao a pass for that. I can't find anything on the producers for any of their albums, so I'll just say it's the band themselves, who do a pretty decent job making their own stuff. Standout songs include Purple Firetail, Lost Crap Your Life. They have weird song titles, if they're in Japanese or English, by the way. Pineapple, The Claim of Youth, both parts with part 2 being listed as track 3 and part 1 as track 9, which confused the hell out of me. And my favourite of all is Shine. Despite its flaws, and there are a fair few, ASA Crew, whatever that means, is a good first from the band. It can get lost in translation, but it's worth it if you're willing to put the time in. Also, with this being the shortest album, the albums do get longer as they go along. So. We follow that up with their second album, Rockin' Pogoroshi, which translates to Rock Impotence Killer. Released in 2005 via BAP Records this time around, as will all their future releases. The album is the first to feature Ue-chan on bass and Ryo the Maximum the Ryo-kun, but just Ryo, who is Nao's younger brother, on guitar and vocals as well as being the songwriter. It's a much more complete album than their debut, and most of what's heard here is what the fans know and love them for now. While the first album was very much hardcore punk, this album started the band's experimentation phases, which they still continue to do to this day. Ryo's songwriting is a highlight for me throughout everything pretty much, and his riffing with the guitar are fantastic. There are no solos on this album, but he's very, very good on the axe, and behind the mic is a co-lead singer, lending many nice clean vocals that go well with Daisuke screaming and rapping. Nao's clean vocals have improved a lot by this stage, and she actually sounds like female this time instead of a prepubescent teenage boy. On the production of the album, I couldn't find any, so it's safe to assume that the band either did themselves or just didn't use any production at all. If that's the case, then they sound really good on their own. Mixing the more well-known metal sound that the band has with their hardcore punk roots and adding elements of skate punk, ska in there just makes for a surprisingly cohesive sound. Despite that not really being the band's MO, they're meant to be confusing. What I could do with that was the random duck quack at the end of some of the songs. It didn't even sound like a quack, it sounded like it kept mewling whilst being strangled. It was just weird, and it's in like one song each on the following 2 albums. Yeah, but that's one minor nitpick of what's an otherwise fantastic sophomore effort. Standout songs include BB Nitro, War Falling Jimmy, Rock and Roll Chainsaw, Magic Soul, and my favourite, and Rock Upset. Rockin' Pogoroshi is a great follow-up album, and it's worth a listen or several. Newcomers might need to adjust to the sound, but besides that, give it a go, and you really might like it. It might surprise you. We then reach the band's third album, Bu Ikikaesu. I had a strand of hair loose, which translates to Up From the Ashes. Released in 2007 via VAP, the album marks the shortest release time between any music of the band. Amazing considering how good this album is. It not only helped to bring them into the mainstream, but also helped to further their experimental sound that they explored in rock and punk roach and continue upon that, adding elements of pop punk, metalcore, more nu metal, along with more clean vocals that actually sound pretty good. Every member seems on point, from Roy putting out some fantastically aggressive scales and riffs on the bass. He's a big Flea fan, so that does explain the slap happy style, obviously. To Rio's continually improving singing, songwriting, riffs, and solos, and there are solos on this album, which are awesome. To Noah's later female tone of voice and amazing drum fills, to Dosuke's always fantastic screaming and rapping. He demonstrates more range with the screams and even employs some cleaner sounding tones when he raps, which sound pretty good in my opinion. Pardon me. Obviously, the reason that I brought up this album bringing the band into the mainstream is due to the two songs I mentioned in the intro, as well as the song Akagi also being used in Death Note. Does this album being mainstream make it bad, though? Absolutely not. It's probably their best work in my opinion. The band's style of self-production continues to rise high, and I was able to find the names of a master named Taki and a recording engineer named Yasu, but besides that, I'm sticking with the band handling pretty much everything else, as good a job as the other two do. Standout songs include What's Up People, Zitsuba Billy, Louisiana Bob, the title track, and my favourite in the closer, Koi no Mega Lover, or Mega Lover of Love. In short, listen to Buiki Kayasu. It's the album that brought the band to every otaku's attention, and rightfully so. Do I consider myself an otaku, considering Death Note is one of the only animes I watched? Eh. And now we reach the band's last, or at least very most recent release, Yoshu Fukushu, released in 2013, once again via VAP. I have found absolutely nothing in terms of what the translations are, so you'll have to get used to me yet again butchering the Japanese pronunciation since I'm too lazy to Google this shit. Anyway, the album is the band's longest at just over an hour, and not counting the band's greatest hits album, it's the first studio release in 6 years after the band had two brief hiatuses. The first was for lead vocalist Dosuke because he needed throat surgery. The other is less serious, as drummer Nao ends up becoming pregnant and gave birth to a baby girl in 2010. Also, she very recently had another child, also a girl, in September of 2016, which really doesn't have anything to do with the band's hiatuses, but I just wanted to bring it up. Also, the band might need another break now due to that. I don't really know what's happening. Anyway, the album is similar to Buiki Kayasu in terms of sound and experimentation, adding more elements of funk and groove metal, oddly enough. It is a bit more polished and poppy, but the band loses absolutely none of their integrity or aggression throughout the album. An impressive feat considering its really long running time. Anyway, the album itself is yet another really solid output from the band. Ray's licks and leads are awesome, Dosuke's range has improved as his growl has come miles along. Nao's drumming and clean singing sounds brilliant. She's mean on the snare, by the way. I love hearing Nao's snare drum, it's fantastic. And Ue's bass continues to just stand out, really. In fact, the vocals are probably the best on this album than on any other. Dosuke and Ryo now all balance each other out very, very well. And Ue-chan's backing vocals, because that's all he does really exclusively, they sound good too. Standout songs on the album include the title track, F, which is a song about Fraser from Dragon Ball Z, My Girl, Due to the Beam, Maximum The Hormone, yes, they named a song after themselves, kind of, and my top track is possibly Beauty Colosseum, which has both a great name and just a fantastic sound to it. Yoshu Fukushu is the band's most balanced effort, without doubt, thanks to brilliant production, songwriting, and their experimentation continuing to grow and improve. It's definitely worth a listen, I think. And so, that's it for this episode. Kind of a short one in terms of albums released. I hope that you all enjoyed this, just taking this really weird trip with me. My least favourite album was probably Ayasaka, since it was just too normal for the band, I guess. It sounded good, but the issues with Nao's vocals didn't help it much, and the band really didn't find their sound at that point, you know? They didn't really find them. My favourite album would probably have to be Buiki Kayasu. It's the band at their absolute peak, showcasing amazing songwriting and production, and pretty much introducing the band to the world. You know, it made people notice them. And also for appearing on Death Note, which is just awesome. Anyway, now that that is all over, I'll see you all time for the next episode. All next time for the next episode, which is going to be about the August Burns Red, as requested by my friend Jason Dan. And much like this episode, there's going to be... Well, no, this next one is going to be pretty much completely blind, because I've only heard some snippets of August Burns Red song. I've only actually heard one fully. But I'll get to that when I get to the episode itself. I at least heard a couple of tracks from Maximum The Hormone before doing this episode. So. Yeah. Anyway, I'll see you all then. It was requested by my friend Jason Dan, so if he's watching this, then, you know, your episode's coming next, dude. I hope you enjoy it when it comes out. I'll see all the rest of you then, and thank you for listening. Take care.